Excellent. Right. Good morning, everybody. January. A couple of little facts about January for you. January is named after Janus, the Roman god of gates and doorways, which I find quite apt as it is the month of new beginnings and fresh starts. As the Roman Empire expanded, the Julian calendar was introduced to different people. Julius Caesar in 468 CE or 46 BCE, I can't read my own writing, I'm really sorry, kept January the 1st as the first day of the year, and he added a day at the end of the month, giving 31 days to the month of January. Now, a few facts. More relationships end in January than any other month. Now, I've been thinking about this, and I think the reason for that is dry January in the UK. And there's only the UK that actually partakes in dry January. And a few figures from HMRC. On the 3rd of January, HMRC released the following figures. So more than 12 million customers were expected to file a tax return for the year 21 to 22, and only 5.7 million still haven't. So 5.7 million, so just short of 50% still haven't done it. And on New Year's Eve, 25,043 lucky people filed their tax returns. And on New Year's Day, 17,571 tax returns were filed. So there is people that sit at New Year doing their taxes. Right, so this morning we're going to move swiftly on. Now, I think our first speaker is Gemma Farina from GFHR Consulting, who will join us to discuss HR, people's matters to be aware of in 2023. Where are you, Gemma? Can you?
I'm here up I'm up the top for me, but that doesn't mean anything for anyone else, does it?
No, you're in the middle of my screen though, so that's good. Are you sharing your screen this morning, Gemma?
I can do, yeah. If I I'm technically challenged as well, so we'll see how it goes.
It should let you.
Do I have the facility to do that on here? Yeah. Okay, so oh, hang on.
Just while you're doing that, I'm just going to go through the chat. So morning, good morning, 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 morning. Very entertaining, even though we are not. Morning, 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 morning. So everybody's saying good morning.
I can't get out now. Don't know what I've done.
Oh, Jennifer's got a birthday in January. Happy birthday for whenever.
Yeah, happy birthday.
How are we doing, Gemma?
I don't know how to get out of what I've done, and I can't figure out how to share it now.
Do you want me to do the HMRC updates while you're doing that? Shall we do it that way round? I'll let you carry on playing.
Yeah, sorry, I wasn't aware I was up first, otherwise it would have been a little bit better.
That's all right. I'll carry on. So I was just going to talk about self-assessments, thinking we're nearly there, but according to Caroline's statistics, we're not. There's obviously plenty more left to file. So I just wanted to just highlight that HMRC have now got a chat on their website, which actually is quite useful. I'm just going to put the link in the chat. Here we go. So they've got obviously robots answering it as well as people. So that's quite a useful tip there. There is also, they've got a whole suite of videos and webinars as well, which I'm sure you're probably all there, but equally there may be some tricky people still left to complete. And I think some of these videos and the guidance there, they're quite specific for different, or, you know, whether you've got landlords, etc. Do you know what I mean? The different categories. So that's a useful link. And then also, I'm just going to put this in. Actually, Caroline, you probably need to read these out for those.
Yes, I do. Yes, thank you, Sarah. Very good of you.
Yeah, there's one other, and this is if you want to be subscribed to HMRC for their automatic updates, then I've just put that in the chat too. Caroline, do you want to pass over to that? So
the first one is www.tax.service.gov.uk/ask-HMRC/chat/self/self assessment, ASSESSment. And then the second one is www.gov.uk/guidance/help-and-support for self-assessment. And then the last one is https://subscriptions.hmrc.v.uk/.
Okay.
Thank you for the link, Sarah. I love them in chats.
That's all right. No problem, but they are useful, so anyone can copy and paste those, or we've been using them, so I recommend. There has been recently just an energy bills discount scheme for business announced. That was announced on the 9th of January, but this is a new scheme for businesses, charities and public sector. So ahead of the so the new scheme will mean that certain businesses that will be eligible for non-domestic energy will receive a discount. Now that discount will be applied to their energy bill, and that will be applicable to the end of March next year. There's another, I've got another link here, Karen, I don't know if you want it or not, but just to see whether your businesses are or there's more details about it. I won't go into all the megawatts per hour, etc. But if you want to find out more, or if there's anything for your clients of interest, there's a link about the scheme there. I don't know whether it'd be worth following up with it in an email. Actually, we'll put it in, Sam, we'll put it in the newsletter too at the end of the month, some of these schemes. The other thing that's also been going on is last year there was a consultation on raising standards in tax advice. That consultation has now closed, and HMRC have concluded what their actions are going to be. It's actually not huge what they're going to do. They've updated the standards for agents, but again, nothing wild in there at all. Just what you would consider as agents for our clients, nothing that any good agent will be doing anyway. So I'm just raising this for your awareness, rather than that's actually any changes that you particularly need to make. The only thing that will affect you, though, there'll be a new registration process for repayment agents. So to make the agent set more transparent, so that customers can fully understand what they're signing up to. So for instance, they're giving you agent access, it's just making it clearer what those responsibilities are that we hold for them. There is also an update on the cost of living payments. Again, there's a whole list of eligibility criteria that's on the government website too, but that's so there's certain payments that are now being made, and the first payments will be coming out in the spring, so this spring, and then a second payment in the autumn. So there's just draw your attention to that as well. So nothing huge, but that's it from me for now.
Brilliant, thank you. Right, Gemma, I've got your
I think I'm
PowerPoint.
there. Oh, have you? Okay.
Yeah,
well, I can do it from that.
If you can share yours,
yeah.
that would be better.
Is that easier? Yeah.
I'm not
all
brilliant
right,
with
let's do that.
PowerPoint.
Okay. So is
while
that
that's coming
shared?
up, oh yeah.
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 Okay. So good morning, everyone. Thank you for inviting me along today. As Caroline's rightly said, new year, new start. So wanted to spend a little bit of time this morning looking at what that means for us in the world of HR, and hopefully give you some useful tips and updates on legislation as it comes through. So for those of you who don't know me, we are GFHR Consulting, a team of 5. We're independent. We work within the local area and the southeast. With the COVID changes, our remit has extended further, as we can do more via Zoom. Although I have to say I'm not a fan of doing things like disciplinaries via Zoom, but you can do it, and we have done it, particularly when we're in lockdown. All our packages are bespoke, and we work with small businesses where they're not big enough to have their own HR service in-house. and providing kind of on-hand advice, guidance, keeping them legally compliant, and helping them with difficult conversations as and when they happen. We like to believe that because HR is about people, our approach is always personal. We always want to get to know people, and we try not to take ourselves too seriously. Sometimes the topics that we're dealing with can be a little bit overwhelming if you don't have a light-hearted side to it as well. So I just want to talk through, I never like to start with bad news, but I think the start of the year, if we can get over the bad news, then we can focus on the good news. So obviously from a bad news point of view, the challenging economy continues. We know that we've got increasing costs affecting all. There's strikes, there's challenges with recruitment. We're really seeing that at the moment, trying to keep up with our competitors. For small businesses, you're fighting with the big boys that are just throwing money at people, and it's not something that's sustainable. If you're a small business, you can't just keep increasing your salary bill, particularly when you've got all those other cost pressures as well. So it does continue to be a challenging environment trying to get top talent moving. And obviously there's changes in the legislation, which we'll go through in a little bit. So as a business owner, trying to keep up to date with all of those changes and keep on top of what's going on whilst dealing with everything else is just more and more pressure. However, the good news is it's a new year, there's new opportunities. And what I've been encouraging clients to do is to really focus on their goals for the year. And I think people kind of go, oh, there's too much uncertainty, I don't really know what position we're going to be on at the end of the year. And I think all of us feel a little bit like that. But I think the important thing is to set those goals so you've got something to aim for. And by having something to aim for, it will keep you going. And it might not be that you hit your goals, but if you've got something to aim for, you will hopefully get some of the way there, if not all of the way there. Obviously, new opportunities, it's an opportunity to look at your infrastructure, look at the way you're doing things, consider your processes. How can you focus on those costs and the way that you're doing things? What are your competitors doing? And I think there's also a tendency when we start to hear words like recession, people tend to go, oh gosh, batten down the hatches and, let's just hunker down and see it out. I really believe that in this sort of environment, those people that don't keep continuing to take those little risks are going to be the ones that fail. And if you keep pushing yourself forward and keep moving forward, that will keep your business going forward and keep your business fresh. And I think, I'm a great believer in positive thought breeds positivity. So, focusing on the positive, the media kind of throws doom and gloom at us all the time. And I think you've got to keep positive to be able to keep moving forward. So from an HR point of view, the kind of big focus, the things that people need to be thinking about for 2023 is continuing a big thing on mental health and well-being, including chat around menopause. That's still out there, obviously, because it's not going to go away. So still bringing that to the fore and looking at what businesses can do to support people with menopause, with their mental health, with their financial well-being as well. So looking at what you can do from a financial well-being. A lot of companies are looking at their EAP schemes, so employee assistance programs, to try and keep those, put those in that offer that support. Continuing with hybrid working arrangements and looking at how those work. People who are looking to move jobs are always looking with every single person that I talk to who's looking for a new job is that what the flexible working arrangements at the moment. Can I do 2 days at home, 3 days in the office? There's a lot of chat around diversity inclusion and expanding and looking at what we can do to make our workplaces more diverse, more inclusive, either be it gender, neurodiversity, all of those sorts of things. We're starting to see the effects of long COVID. So many people have suffered with long COVID, and I think there's some case law now coming in how we treat those people with long COVID and what support we should be giving them as well. And And within the idea of keeping yourself fresh and keeping on top of your costs, looking at your HR data, looking at how you can be more productive, I think it's very different working in a hybrid environment. You can't always see what your employees are doing, and people sort of think, well, if I can't see them, then obviously not working. Not necessarily the case, but I think it's about focusing on what are those people doing it, and are they doing it to the best of their ability, and have they got the right skills to be doing it? So looking more at HR data to be able to do that. This is a very busy slide, sorry. I'll rattle through it because the time I know is ticking on. So these are the employment law changes that we're looking at. So as accountants, bookkeepers, I'm sure you're aware you've got increases in statutory rates and minimum wage in April. Many of you may have heard about this retained EU law, the Revocation and Reform Bill. So this is causing a lot of chatter in the press at the moment, and the media are twisting it in all sorts of different ways. So this is where the government essentially has the opportunity, or has to vote, to keep all those laws that we had in place as being part of the EU. And it doesn't mean that they're going to throw them all out and start again, because I think that would be slightly stupid, but they have to vote to keep those laws. And all of the laws that we had as part of the EU all expire at the end of this year. They can be extended, I think, to the end of 2026, but the government will be going through and looking at what can we do, what can we keep, and it affects things like working time directive, our annual leave, TUPE legislation. So there's a lot of looking at what that's actually going to do. I saw a sensationalist sort of headline the other day, you know, about all the fact that maternity rights are all going to be thrown out. That's not necessarily the case. It's just a case of what can we do, what can we keep, what do we want to keep, and the government will be looking at that. Things that are proposed, but as yet there is no date, is that we've got a new right for employees with caring responsibilities to take 1 week unpaid leave per year. There's a new right proposed for flexible working. So at the moment you have to have worked 26 weeks with a company before you can request to work flexibly. There's a proposal that will become a day one right. They are proposing a new right for parents to take an additional week of leave for every week their baby is in neonatal care. I think it's up to 12 weeks, and subject to usual sort of things that they look at, like length of service for employees. They're talking about extending redundancy protection to cover pregnant employees. This has been on the cards for quite a while, and giving that protection from before people announce that they're pregnant to 6 months after their return. There is a duty to requiring employers to prevent sexual harassment, including explicit protections from third-party harassment, so something to be aware of. And there's the review of employment status for existing employment contracts, which has come out as a case of all the gig economy work you will have probably heard about. Things that you might have missed. So there was a case literally at the back of last year, which is looking at the change in holiday calculations for part-year workers, meaning that everyone, regardless of how much they work, will be entitled to 5.6 weeks holiday per year as a minimum, and that replaces the previous calculation that we used for 0 hours employees particularly, which is a 0.12% of, or sorry, 12% of per hour worked. So holiday calculations is one of the things that gives us the biggest headaches, but it's something to be aware of, and I'm sure you'll probably get questions around that and holiday pay. Fit notes can now be certified by pharmacists and nurses, not just GPs. So hopefully it should make it easier for people to get fit notes. Equally, that could be a bad thing, because it might mean we might get more that are a little bit, you know, tenuous. There's new ACAS guidance on staff suspensions that focuses on the reasons for suspending staff, whether that is the right way to go, and also making sure that employers give support from a mental health perspective to employees that have been suspended. The IR35 will be abolished from 6th of April. That's going to be effective for medium and large businesses. And then hopefully all of you are aware of this because it came in April 2020, but lots of people, it passed them by because we had other things on our mind in April 2020. The Good Work Plan changes, which meant that contracts with employment became a day one right. Other leave and other payments, statutory payments needed to be included in contracts. Training needs to be included in contracts as well. So to succeed in 2023, few of my tips for success: communicate your goals, look at employee well-being, both financial and mental health well-being. Look at how hybrid working is working in your companies, looking at making sure you've got a clear and consistent policy in place, ensures that there's fairness. Look at your productivity data, and from our point of view, if you're looking after your employees and focus on your business goals, then all will be well and you will sail through 2023. This slide I came up with at the end of during lockdown, and I think it sort of sums it up. You know, we have to keep going, keep moving forward, and keep navigating the storm, the perpetual storm that we seem to be in at the moment. So yeah, just keep going and keep focusing on the direction that you're going in. Okay, and I think that's a whistle-stop tour of HR in 2023.
Thank you. I have to say, I love that quote at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
brilliant. I might have to copy that.
Yeah, no, really good. Gemma and I were speaking at an event 2-3 months ago, and I actually hadn't appreciated that all the UK law was up for change at the end of this year, which is quite huge. So all the payroll laws that we've been working to forever are subject to change. So I mean, hopefully not much will change, but I think we might, Gemma, need to get you back on later on in the year when we know.
Knowing the government, they'll probably push it back for the 3 years and extend it for 3 years.
Quite possibly.
But, you know, who knows? They'll tell us a week before.
Yeah, exactly. And I actually, Joe, I made some other notes while you were talking there as well, which I just thought would be useful to share as well. I don't know what everyone else's experience is, but a lot of my clients are struggling to recruit. Recruitment is a huge problem at the moment. And actually had some interesting statistics about that. So in the UK population sits around 64 million, and we need 29 million working for the economy to work. Now, we lost 1.5 million employees through Brexit, and we've had another 800 employees leave the workforce through COVID for whatever reasons. You know, they retired, it was too much, it was, so there's a huge deficit at the moment. So having good employment terms for your employees or to attract staff is going to be really, really key to recruit and maintain good staff. Because the other pressure that we have as bookkeepers, accountants, is that recession is great for business. So we always do really, really well. So I always think this is positive when we hit recession. But it also will then increase another problem that we will need to recruit. But so a mixture of good and bad there. But
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no, thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you, Gemma. There might be some questions, but first I've got another link from Sarah that I've missed. So that's www.gov.uk/governments/news/chancellor-unveil new-energy-bills-scheme-for-businesses. And then I've got my computer this morning is going crazy. I've got Carol said, would relief include CIC? I think that's for you, Sarah.
I'll just put myself back on mute. I don't, you'll have to go through the detailed guidance, but that's why I put that link in there and just find out. But I just wanted to signpost you to what's changing. So I'll leave it to you to go and find out the detail.
Thank you. Emma says, I thought IR35 was remaining, but the decision as to whether it in or out now falls to the contractor as it did before, rather than lying with the employer. Is it being fully abolished? I think that's for you, Gemma.
I thought it was still going ahead, I have to say. If I've got that wrong, then huge apologies. Yeah,
my
I'll do-
understanding
right.
is IR35 stays. So
Okay.
it was abolished and now it's staying, isn't it? That's
Sorry, lose track the changes.
yeah,
There you go, Emma. It
In or out, in or out.
changes. Just-
yeah, it does change. Yeah.
Apologies.
Yeah, and again, I would agree with Emma that the big decision was that the decision falls to the contractor rather
Yeah,
than the employer. There was that was the issue. So,
And then Kim says, brilliant presentation, well done. A lot of ground covered in a successful point, I think, is what
Succinct.
she's trying to say, yeah. Angie says, thanks, Gemma, that was very, and then Carla says, okay, thank you, Sarah. So thank you very much, Gemma. And I'm going to move very swiftly on to Kim Searle, the emotionally mastery coach, who's going to be giving us tips on stress management, which I could do too today. After all our technical glitches. Are you there, Kim? Where are you?
Indeed. Thank you very much.
There
Quick
you are.
one. How long do you want me to talk for? Because I do not have slides. I think, you know, it's much more, when you're talking things like this, it's much more engaging to have the person. So how long?
About, I'm going to pass that back to Sam. I'd say about 15 minutes, 20 minutes.
yeah,
15 minutes.
that's fine.
Yeah, I think 15
Yeah.
minutes is good. And then if anyone has any questions for you, Kim, I think
We
then
can do
have
questions
some
at the
time.
end.
Yeah, please do. And I would encourage people to put questions into the chat now so that it becomes more engaging, because otherwise just listening to me talk may sort of make you feel stressed. Who knows?
Kim, do you want me to interrupt if something goes into the chat?
I can see the numbers, the number coming on the chat thing. So thank you, Caroline. If I don't get to them straight away, I will come back to them.
All right, brilliant.
I wanted to start really with stats, because you're accountants and bookkeepers and you like numbers, and who doesn't? And it was really interesting because I had a quick look at an old presentation I put together probably about 4 or 5 years ago, and the numbers have increased. So at the moment, they reckon there's about 79% of the population that they've obviously interviewed. That's not been me, may not be you, but the 79% of those that they approached are saying they are stressed at least once a month. I don't know whether that sits with you or not. That 1 in 5 people feel stressed on a long-term basis. 46% of people are saying that they are near burnout. Now, these are lovely numbers and scary numbers, but I want to caveat them, because stress in and of itself is a subjective thing. So when they took these numbers, I don't know enough about what's behind them, who they were asking, and what questions that they were specifically asking to get those numbers. There's a really good book, which I don't have the name and title to right now, about a guy who talked about statistics and how we need to be using them with care. But I do believe they are demonstrating a move to a more stressful workforce than there was 3 or 4 years ago, which I believe we can all make sense of that, can't we? Because of COVID and Brexit and all the changes you guys have been through, legislative, and you know, all the things that have to happen because the inland revenue are shifting and changing. So stress is a subjective thing. And so there is nothing wrong with you saying, I feel stressed. However, what you need to understand is that some stress is necessary for us to perform. If you want to go for your goal at the end of the year of increasing your turnover by 10, 20%, whatever, there's going to be a bit of pressure behind it, isn't there? You're going to have to step up and out of your comfort zone to achieve it. That can be classed as good stress, unless you're the person who is having to deliver it, but not driving it. So the other thing to think about when you're thinking of stress is it's a perception. Years ago, I did a training with a guy who specialized in stress, and I can't remember his exact quote, but stress is our perceived ability to deal with our daily life. So workload, if you like. So it doesn't matter if it's not stressing you, it might be stressing somebody else. And I think that's a cautionary tale. I worked within an IT telecoms environment, and there were those who seemed to be working all the hours God sends, and were working, you know, late evenings and early mornings, and some of them were sending emails overnight. Now, that would have done me in. I was already working long hours, but they were working excessively long hours. And the thing is, for me, that was stressful. I don't know what their perceived ability was, but I can tell you that that is not sustainable over the long term. Again, I'm telling you something you know, but I think it's worth calling it out. If you're experiencing stress because of work situations, so you've all been through a very difficult January, maybe December, there'll be other periods in the year, you know, month ends and quarter ends and whatever, where you'll be stressed, they're okay. You will probably find other ways of managing your way through it. However, if you are consistently, and remember I said, you know, there was 1 in 5 constantly feeling stressed, that's a different matter. That is something that needs to be looked at by you. One of the things I very often talk about is a lot of this is not your fault. It's not your boss's fault. It's not your client's fault. It's not the Inland Revenue. It's down to you to understand what's going on for you. And that's not a fault. It's just what's going on. And that comes from your early learnings. Your brain is primarily geared up to A, keep you safe, and B, focus on the negative. Oh my God, talk about set you up for a bit of a bad day. If you can imagine that that's the case, it doesn't mean to say that you are having to fall foul of it. You now know that it's keeping you safe and it keeps you on the negative side. So you're always looking for the worst case scenario coming through, according to you. So bear that in mind as I talk a little bit more. Because the people who potentially, not exclusively, but potentially experience stress more than others are those perfectionists, the people pleasers, the people who they call it imposter syndrome. That was a phrase coined in the 70s or 80s. It's actually doubting yourself. If you doubt yourself, you're going to feel everything you're doing is not as good as the next person. So you're comparing yourself. And it's really important that if you experience any of these, then you are more prone to stress. And I noticed Gemma said uncertainty, so I've added that in. And for most of us, there is an element of uncertainty as we come into the new year. And that's a whole different topic. Why do I tell you all this? Because one of the first things I want you to think about if you are experiencing stress is, what can you do about it? Now, people who come to see me with those types of issues, it's something that they believe about themselves. So when you think about how stressed you are, what are you believing about yourself? What is it that you are doubting yourself on? Because the chances are that's a good starting point. It might be that I'm not sure what I'm doing is right. I've got too much work to do, but I can't say anything because I've taken it on, people pleasing. Understand what's the habit or the behavior that's contributing to your stress levels. If you're the person who keeps putting their hand up when there's work to do or doesn't say no, you might be shooting yourself in the foot.
On that, I used to work for a guy in an engineering company, and he had a quote up on the wall, and it was actually on the wall in my office, and it said, "Because you're late does not mean I need to rush."
Very true. We had something very similar in the project community.
Yeah.
A crisis on your part doesn't mean that I've got to jump through hoops. So,
Yeah.
So very, very similar. And you're right, Caroline.
Yeah.
It's other people. And the chances are that other person, other group of people are putting you under pressure because they've left something to the last minute. It's not been important for them, and suddenly it is.
Which
And
is very appropriate this month for our tax returns.
oh, exactly.
And the people that you know are going to turn up on the morning of the 30th.
And one of the things I'm talking with one accountant at the moment is to start to train your clients to do this. Now, it's not a bad thing, but you need to teach them that there are consequences for late delivery of stuff, different compensation, but you can do it. Start now telling them that this was the bad experience, la 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 la. As of next year, this is what's going to happen. Just a little tip there.
Thank you.
So believe in yourself is definitely important, and believe in yourself that you can have that conversation with your client. It doesn't have to be aggressive. You can have the conversation during chat. Do you know that you got got it in late this month again, or late this month? It puts so much pressure on my team, stress. So you've got to think about your team. It's really not working as when it's not just you. There's a collection of people. So we're introducing a new policy. So as of next year, this is what's going to happen. We'll remind you beforehand, but you need to know. And I'm encouraging my current client to charge for it as well, but that's another conversation. Trust yourself. You have been trained so well, and you've got lots of support behind you in this sort of community, and I'm sure others. Trust yourself and what you do. And this is one of the biggest things I think that people do not do. And because they don't trust themselves, they second guess, they make sure that they've got to double check what they've done. They refer to others. Somebody else looks better than I am. What you're doing there is making hard work for yourself. And that hard work or increased work is adding to your stress levels. Start thinking about that. The other big thing is feeling safe, being you. It's not physical safety, although that may well be part of it. Might lose my job, whatever, or the business might start to underperform. That can be it. But it's also to think about your mental safety. Do you feel able to speak up, to say the no to your boss? And if you don't, then that's another thing for you to explore, to understand what's behind that. Could be your people pleasing. It could be your imposter syndrome. It could be something else, good credibility or whatever. But once you understand it, you can do something about it, can't you? You can do something about that stress level. And safe emotionally. So often we have been taught from a very young age that having emotional content, and I know a lot of you probably don't go there, but you'll still experience emotional content. You just do not express it. You keep it buried, tucked, parked, hidden, whatever. That emotional content is your clue as to whether things are working for you or not. Again, once you understand if it's not a good emotion, what is that? What is it trying to tell you? What is it that you need to help you forward? And the last one is love. I know, absolutely bizarre. Why would you bring love into a conversation with accountants and bookkeepers when you're talking stress? Because we don't love ourselves enough. We do not give ourselves slack. We do not allow ourselves time to be us, to be kind to ourselves. And the problem there is that you're last on your list, potentially. You're so busy helping everybody else and doing your job, you're last, but you're so important in your world. If you are not turning up to work fit, healthy, well, confident, you are doing yourself a massive disservice. So when you're feeling stressed, with any of these, I want you to ask yourself one question. What do I need right now? That's it. What do I need right now? I can tell you all the other things you can do, but you know those. I wanted to bring something different to the table. So how does that sit with you? Does that make sense? The fact that you can make changes internally to your stress levels, and then find that by understanding them on those 4 points, what you believe about yourself, whether you trust yourself, whether you are feeling safe to be able to speak up, and that you are being kind and loving yourself. That then leads to the one question: what do I need? So for me, I mean, I could have told you all sorts of things about how you can manage it, but you know them. You hear them all the time. You know about food and exercise and mindfulness and, you know, family time and all that good stuff. You know that. But because you're not looking at what's going on internally, it's only going to be a plaster effect. Get to the root cause, makes such a big difference. So there's one little comment in there. Thank you. Let me just have a look. Jennifer, thank you. Good boundaries. It might be that, you know, you need to set those up. Believe that you're able to. Trust that you can. And I've got a whole presentation on boundaries that Sam's waiting for me to give her a list of other things that I'm doing. So I'll bring those forward. So it might be something I can do later on in the year if that's appropriate. And Alison, well done. I'm going to a spa weekend, a day, I should say, not weekend, a day, because it's my treat for the fact that the last few months have been quite tough as well. So, you know, it's good. Just put something in the diary. I was on a call before this, and one of the ladies turned around and said she's putting a rewards calendar in her diary. Oh, hello.
I like that idea.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Because you're working so hard, aren't you? All of you.
Yeah.
Men and women are working so hard. What do you do for yourself to reward yourself? When you get your pay packet, when you get your salary at the end, are you giving yourself anything? Are you setting something aside for you? Are you treating yourself?
I have to admit, I live on the coast, so I'm near the beach, and I have a really busy day today, and I know I'm working late tonight. And I decided this morning that I was coming to work the long way, and me and the dog had about half an hour on the beach before we got here. And yeah, it just felt fantastic to just ignore everything for a bit and just take some time out.
Yeah, start within, and then you'll find the out will start to shift and change.
Yeah. Carol's put 1, how am I feeling? 2, what was the trigger? 3, what do I need right now? These are the 3 questions that I advise my Reiki clients to ask themselves to have a deeper understanding of self. I think you'd agree with that, would you, Kim?
I absolutely. You know, it's a good set of questions to ask yourself. I guess what do I need right now is the one that I'm emphasizing most. It's good if you're constantly stressed to benchmark. Do not get me wrong, this is not easy. Do not think, oh, you know, it's going to be easy. No, if you're stressed and it's a constant or regular, you're going to have to do some work on yourself, but you can. And that's what I love about it. Take back control. Talking uncertainty, you can be certain that you can do that.
And then Angie says that was brilliant, thank you. And then Carol says, I take a daily, and you're going to have to excuse my pronunciation, Shinrin-yoku, which is forest bath stroke walk, which keeps me grounded, helps release any stress, and always against a tree. Fantastic results.
Carol, yeah, that's a very typical one, is to be out in nature. So the walking is a common one, isn't it? But it's being out there. Guys, you're remarkably quiet on all this. All the ladies have come through. This does apply to you. Most of my clients are men. But they're not coming for stress, but they're coming for other stuff. But, you know, they're coming with the same sorts of things. So it applies to you guys as well.
Yeah. And then Anna says,
thank you so much.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
And I'm going to move on now to, it's that time of year again, and our 50th annual awards ceremony, celebrating the success of all entrants, but also 50 years of the IAB. This year, the awards is being held at the House of Lords. It's on Tuesday, the 20th of June. So put a note in your diary. And entries are open now, and the closing date is Friday, the 7th of April. Entrants are already high, and we want them higher. We want record numbers for every category. And the categories are Accountant of the Year, Bookkeeper of the Year, Innovation in Business Award, Payroll Professional of the Year, Student of the Year, Tutor of the Year. Yeah, and there is a special one this year. which is Outstanding Achievement Award. And this is the first year that that's going to be an award. Does anybody want to say anything about the award ceremony other than it will be a fantastic day and it won't rain because it's in June?
Janet, you probably want to talk about this. This is the award's always your baby. So, and we've had an amazing level of entries already, so which is really exciting.
Yeah, as always, it's always a great time of year to get the entrance in. It's one of my favourite bits of the year is reading everybody's story and who's nominated them and why. So get entering. We've had loads, as Sarah's just said, we've had lots of entries already, which was a big surprise. That the first week we were so shocked about how many we'd got. I thought Samantha had got it wrong. She told me how many it was. So yeah, so that's really good. So do put yourselves forward, or if you know somebody or want to nominate somebody else, please do so. It's always good to be, and it's in the House of Lords this year. It's a little bit shorter, the ceremony, but it's so we're dodging down the terrace one, so to speak. So you'll come in at a different entrance, I think, this time as well, don't you, Sam?
Yeah, you will come at a different entrance just to confuse things, but yeah, you will.
Yeah, so I'll probably get lost going in. I know how to get in the other way. We've been doing it for years, so we thought we'd have a change, being as it was the 50th.
Yeah. Just heighten our stress levels.
Everybody's going to be wandering around, aren't they?
Yeah,
wandering around the Houses of Parliament.
Oh, it's all right. They don't really bother.
Does it mean? Does a new entrance mean the tradesman's entrance, or do we move up?
No,
to
you can
posher
actually,
entrance?
instead of coming through those crash barriers to stop people driving madly into it or something, and you come down, where the security, you come in, if you walk past that and go right up to the end, there's kind of gardens, and you actually walk through that door there.
Right. So it's a nicer way into the House of Lords.
It is, but you don't see the big hall. But we can arrange trips if people want to do that, so you can go and have a tour around. So we'll anybody who wants to, we'll probably put that out there to say we can arrange it if needed. But, so, but it is nice. It is nice. It's still nice.
Mm.
Yeah, I like walking through into the House of Commons. When you go through the bit you always see on the BBC News. Do you know that's always
in the big hall where the
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's where it's actually coming out of the Commons to coming into the Lords, into that where they always do the they sort of have everybody waiting to get them as they've come out and made a vote. They always attack them in that big square.
And just while you're on that, Janet, Ian has made a suggestion for a new award. With CPD becoming compulsory, should there be a CPD award as well? That could be the person with the most CPD points in the year, couldn't it?
I think we'll consider that for next year. We can't change anything this year, but absolutely, that's a good suggestion.
Yeah, it is a good suggestion. Yeah.
Well done, Ian.
Somebody's just Carol put in she's new.
Yeah.
Can all attend? No, unfortunately, they only allow us about 120 people. So it's the award winners, some of the service providers who are the sponsors. Obviously, the finalists get to bring somebody with them. Obviously, you can't come in on your own. It's like a big day for the people who are there. So it is limited. What about the ambassadors?
Are you reading that from Mohammed?
Yeah. What about Ambassador of the Year award?
There's too much competition, Mohammed.
I think you all deserve an award, to be honest.
Yeah, no, very proud of our ambassadors.
Yes, we are. But yes, it's the ambassadors are all coming to the awards as well. Well, we hope you are. You will get your invite accordingly in time.
Yeah. So if you want to get to House of Lords, make an entry, be part of the put yourself forward for these awards, and then I hope to see you there, and also as an ambassador too. So good.
Should be a nice afternoon.
Yeah,
It was lovely
will.
last year.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was very nice. And we had fantastic weather.
Yeah, we did. It was lovely. Boiling.
Yeah, it was good.
Right. Has anybody anything else?
So, well, thank you to our speakers. Thank you, Kim. I'm always conflicted when I listen to yourself because I always think I thrive on stress, which is the opposite to how you've been explaining it. But I think the key to note is to manage your energy, isn't it, through it too? So,
And remember, it's perceived. If you're thriving on it, that's good, but just keep an eye on it, because long term,
probably not good. No,
when
exactly.
you get older, everything falls apart.
Yeah, exactly. And Gemma, thank you.
Yes.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
sister.
Yes, thank you, both of you. Really good.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Yes, exactly. Ditto, Gemma.
And our next coffee morning will be the 15th of February. And again, it'll be 11 a.m.
Brilliant. I
And,
should look forward to seeing you all there.
Yeah.
I'm afraid I won't see you all.
No.
Are you being whisked off, Janet?
I am, yes.
Lucky you.
Yeah, I'll be meeting some ministers to try and get our education programme sort of verified with the Indian government. So I'll be over there
Yeah,
Oh,
Janet will be there.
with our president, Fabian Hamilton, MP. So flying visit there and back.
Well, good luck with
busy.
that. And hopefully I'll see everybody else on the 15th of February.
Okay, well, have a
Right.
great time. And I'll listen to the recording when I come back.
All right, great.
Take care.
Have a good
Thanks,
day.
Bye.
everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
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 Bye.